up, what up, what up, what up, what up? It's your boy T.
Yeah, it's your man B.
And you on the ride up.
Cha! Episode 9.
Episode 9.
Hey, yo,
we have a special guest
ahead.
today.
Yeah,
we have a special guest today. My brother. Demetrius Blue.
How's it going, man?
Intervention. Did I get it right? Response intervention coordinator. Okay. And you work in DC public charter schools.
Correct.
And
out of Southeast. That too. Yo. Can't forget that part.
That's that.
Thanks for joining us today. It's been my pleasure on the show.
It's my pleasure to be here, man.
Where we starting at, bro?
We got a couple things we got to talk about. So we're going to talk about Drew Brees. We're going to talk about Dak Prescott. We're going to talk about Martellus Bennett. We're going to talk about the NFL in general. We're going to talk about the NBA returning. We're going to talk about John Wall. And we're going to get into some things. So, but first, since we have Blue here, Blue, I want people to know what does your title mean? You don't want to give me your title. What does it mean? What are you doing for the school system?
Gotcha. So my job is to I come into schools and I work with kids who are struggling with meeting academic standards, meeting behavior expectations. I create intervention plans, which is a plan for them, supports to put in place to help them boost academic behavior performance, sometimes social emotional, depending on exactly what the scholar needs. So a myriad of different things.
That's a mouthful. So over the last week or so, a lot of things have been going on in America and across the world. And we're not even talking about the pandemic anymore. We're talking about the fight for justice. And both Brian and myself have made conscious efforts to try to avoid the conversation on air, not because we are afraid to talk about it. We talk about it all the time. But we prefer to give the people something else to talk about so that it's not the only thing we're talking about. Like, we want to be able to have more than just one discussion. We want to be able to say, you know what? I still like to watch movies. I still want to play video games. I still want to go to the park. I still want to vacation. So I don't have to you don't have to necessarily put those things aside as if they don't exist, and also be a freedom fighter or care or pay attention to the political climate. I know that Blue did, I did. I hope people who were able to vote went out and did their part and voted earlier this week. And I think I can't speak for the entire United States or even out of this county, but I know Prince George's County did a great job at assisting their residents in getting their votes in. And I was really proud to be a Prince George's County resident. So
that's what's up.
So, when we do this, we off the cuff a lot of time. And sometimes stuff just falls in our laps. We wake up this morning and we get to see that the whole world is taking a shit on Drew Brees. Boy, was Twitter there for him to do that, right?
Not only Twitter, like NFL greats,
his teammates
stomped on his head over the last 24 hours. You know what I mean? His own teammates. Yeah, Michael Thomas was on there. Like, Kamara was doing it. Like, he was, Malcolm Jenkins, another teammate. Like, the only person that kind of caped for him that was a black NFL player was Joe Horn, which, I mean, whatever. But, 4 years after the fact of Colin Kaepernick kneeling, we have to still hear the rhetoric that it's disrespectful to the troops or to the flag or to this country. And it was just like, it's the new term, new cliche is read the room, Drew. Like you came out and said that with your whole ass chest. It's been 4 years, my nigga. Like, what are you talking about? That's not what we're doing, and we know what we're doing because a man got suffocated by a knee a week ago. That's what we was talking about the whole time. And then let's just go into the symbolism of a kneel. A kneeling is showing servitude to something. So in my opinion, I don't like to see people kneeling for the flag or whatever, just out of that. But if that's your protest, I get it. But then you're interrupting, you're disrupting that and talking about disrespecting the flag. Still, 4 years later, without provocation, all he was asking about was, are you going to stand with your black teammates? Like, all you had to do was say, yes, I stand for reform.
Exactly.
And trying to give us equality, equity in this country with my black brothers in arms. That's all he had to say. He went out his way and talking about his grandfather. Nobody cared about your grandfather, bro. Like, our grandfathers was getting beat, was in World War II and coming home beat by sticks by police, man. What are you talking about, fam? Come on, Slim. Then he gets on Instagram. He said this. He doesn't say he was wrong. He is absolutely abjectly wrong. Period. He wants to stand by policy. That's all cool. I want to see him do it. I don't want to hear it no more.
But the thing about his apology that I disagree with, his apology said that he wanted to step up and be a leader in the black community. How can Drew Brees be a leader in the black community?
Yeah,
you have no idea what the black community is going through. And I believe that a lot of racists are hijacking the whole kneeling thing, right? To create the narrative that we're kneeling to disrespect troops. That's their whole way of not dealing with the problem that we're going through in the country. Is by hijacking the narrative and making it about disrespecting veterans. Colin Kaepernick has never said that he was disrespecting veterans. He spoke out and said that that's not what he's doing. And right now shows us
the kneeling was the compromise. Kneeling was the compromise to respect the troops. If that was the case, like him sitting down for the national anthem does not disrespect nobody. Period. 100,000 people in the stands sit down for the damn national anthem every other day until people brought it up. So right, that was the protest originally, but then he talked to one of them military guys, and I can't remember his name. I'm not gonna care. I don't even care to remember his name. It's all good. Respect to him. And he chose kneeling, which, I mean, you can agree with that on the other end as well, but at the same time, in no way, saying disrespect, it was disrespect to the anthem or the troops is propaganda, and you fell for it. And I don't respect anybody that falls with Trump or that GOP type propaganda that they put out there. Because it, like you said, Blue, all it is obfuscating the facts that in this country, police brutality and just in general, the black communities around this country are underserved. It's not no rational reason for
it. This is why I like to have these conversations with the people who have opinions that I respect. Not necessarily opinions that I have to agree with, but that I respect, because I feel as though if I have a conversation with one of you gentlemen, you'll be able to elaborate and eloquently speak your opinion. And the one thing that, because when I contacted Brian earlier this morning, and I asked, because I said, I actually liked the apology, and I think I represent the sect of the black community that has a lot of forgiveness in their heart. And and it's sad because a brother of mine may do something less, detrimental, and I hold a grudge with him. Not these per se, but just the way that person represents itself. So for him to come in and issue a lengthy apology, going over a lot of different pieces of this puzzle that I missed on the most important parts. And I probably wouldn't have caught that had I not had a conversation with you, had we not be talking about it right now. And then one of the other things that I forgot about was, and by the way, the veteran that Brian was talking about was Nate Boyer, by the way, the retired Army of Ray. So don't pick and choose what you offend. Like, listen, offense is offense. Something doesn't have to offend you in order for it to be offensive. Just because I can take a joke doesn't mean it's a joke to somebody else. You gotta respect somebody's sensitivity on any issue. Now, it shouldn't have taken for Donald Trump to come out and just blast NFL players. Why? Because he's saying the same thing that people who wear your black co-workers, that's what they are. That's your friends. They're not your brothers. Y'all not at war together. They're your co-workers and y'all at work. That's exactly what you are, Drew Brees. They're your co-workers. These same racists, these same bigots are wearing your brother's jerseys, your quote-unquote brother's jerseys. You know, they're wearing Michael Thomas jerseys, but then they're going home and they're going on their Facebook Lives and doing the challenges where you're kneeling on people's necks and shit like that. Let me know you will pull up on somebody if they do that.
Right.
If you see your neighbor doing that, I want to see a video where you just got arrested for slapping the shit out somebody. That's what I want to see. That's standing beside your brother to me.
Right. He was just playing his part to keep silent. You know what I mean? Let's just get this out the way. Dan Snyder kneeled. He done gave $1 million. He's giving millions of dollars to Donald Trump. So, and you know, I mean, whatever. I can't call him a racist. I don't know.
Dan Snyder kneeled. Jerry Jones kneeled, and they were kneeling. But they weren't kneeling for racial inequality. They were kneeling to show unity, not racial inequality. It's not the same thing. You know what I mean? So again, it wasn't they had hijacked the narrative and made it convenient for everyone to kneel. But then when it was unpopularized, nobody's supposed to kneel anymore, or you become the bad guy. Right. Or you're disrespecting the flag. You know what I mean? It's not about that.
So no, and in further contrast to kneeling, which is a peaceful protest, we saw these white people armed in state houses.
Yes.
With AR-15s, yelling, pushing, and disrespecting police in a state house, in several state houses.
With camo.
You contrast that. Your dog, with all of that, yes. Because they couldn't go to the barbershop. Then you contrast that with this one. That was last month. That was a month and a half ago. Then you contrast that to this. You have people outside and they already gearing up a riot gear. It's not like they responding. They're preemptive with the riot gear.
But you also have to talk about the difference in response. You got to talk about the way the nation responded to those people standing with AR-15s on the steps of their, legislation houses versus how they responded to the protesters. Donald Trump tweeted, someone needs to talk to these good people who are standing outside with AR-15s.
Right.
We're kneeling outside the White House and we're thugs, right? Think about the narrative.
It's crazy. But it's so transparent that we see it, but how do they not see it? So that's why I'm at the point where I'm not explaining nothing to nobody no more. I'm good on that. I've explained enough. You can see it for your eyes or you don't have to. It's about action now. It's not about, I don't want to see no performance art. I don't want to see nobody kneeling for real. Not no police. Give up some power. Tell your police union to sit down when somebody is known to brutalize people and be in illegal activity instead of taking up for them. That's just about action. I don't want to see no police chief. I don't want to hear no police chief talk about they about all this peace, all this reform. Dog.
So Brian,
have the power, bro.
Let me ask you this, Brian. Out of all of the NFL players, former and present, whose words resonated the most with you? Whose words do you think pierced the issue the most?
I liked a kid that hasn't even played the NFL down there, two of them. I like Trevor Lawrence's statement. I like Joe Burrow's statement. I'm not even big fans. Like, and funny thing is, Trevor Lawrence's head coach is an alleged racist. Said nigger to a player. So
Wow.
Trevor Lawrence is Dabo. Yeah, look into it. Dabo swing. Trevor Lawrence's statement, I liked it. I was appreciative of it. I think Aaron Rodgers had a good statement, but I see it all in the backdrop. If they could have stood up and been behind Cap. Everybody, all the players that were in the league in 2016. I hear you. It's cool, but you know, that tints it, that poisons it a little bit for me.
And the thing is, back then, I remember them begging an elite white quarterback to step up, to give the kneeling more, I don't want to say validity, but to give it more, I don't know, to make it more respected. Yeah.
It's leverage.
Yeah.
It was leverage. Leverage your whiteness against
none of them would step up.
No. Nobody wanted to give up no type of nothing. They didn't want to lend their credibility to it. So it's all good. We saw it 4 years ago. You can talk about it now because it's so much in your face. This is the upteeth time. This is another hashtag and the reason I think this is happening, we saw Arbery, that was 1 week, and then we heard about Breonna Taylor and homie that got struck down on Facebook Live, and then we saw George Floyd being crushed, hand. He died by somebody's hand. It wasn't somebody shooting him. It's a little different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We saw Walter Scott get shot in the back. And it's a little different. You just see him fall down. It's kind of like you detach from it a little bit. It's still sickening to me, but I can see how somebody can detach from that. But you see the look on the police officer's face of like just plain like apathy, and it's and just like anger, and just because you're asking him to get up, like. You're just silencing a black man's life, and there's people there telling them to get off of him. It resonated a little bit different, I think, than everything else. Even though we've seen people die on camera.
So another thing with George Floyd is the officer laid on his neck for 8 minutes. He had 8 minutes to correct his actions.
That's a long time.
8 minutes.
It's a long time. He thought about it.
That's a long time.
Yeah. He was making a conscious decision to kill this man, and Teo, the Oriental cop, he had the best perspective because he was looking at Floyd's face. You watched this man die, and you're complicit because you didn't say anything. You could have said, "Yo, he's dying," but you didn't say anything.
At some point, the humanity in yourself has to be like. At least put him in a squad car.
Yes.
Take over for him, like hold him down or something. But like, yo, come on, like that was just despicable. It was despicable, man. I can't even watch the video. Like I watched it.
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch the whole thing.
I've seen it twice. I can't even make it through.
You see this man die.
I haven't watched it once.
You literally watched this man die.
Yeah. I'm done with watching black men die at the hands of the police or really anybody for real. I don't like seeing people get like. I've seen people like put up like Jones where he was getting shot, like getting slept. You know what I mean? By like drive-bys or whatever. And I'm like, dog, like what's the purpose of even looking at that? But that's another side. But whatever, man. It's disturbing. It's disturbing, and it's so random. Like it's any day one of us can catch it. Like,
that's a scary
because
part.
I look like me.
Yeah, this man died over $20. He died over $20. That is crazy as hell.
A problem with is that the fact that people feel like they need to say not all cops are bad cops.
No, that's not the way you look at it.
Like, hey, to you, all of you who don't know that we know that there aren't all bad cops. This isn't about the good cops. This is about the bad cops. This is about the cops who are on the sideline who want to convince themselves that they're good cops while nurturing the actions of the bad cops by not coming forward, by not saying on the spot, yo, don't do this. Or sometimes you ever have it where you almost go down the wrong path, and it just takes a friend to say, yeah, nah, we not doing this. And you simply say, you know what, you're right, I was tripping. What was I thinking about? It's hard for me to believe that can't be the same case there. If you are a cop who is upholding the law, it's going to have more of an accountability for your counterparts who are not. They're going to be like, okay, let me be more my P's and Q's. And also, the more that you do good, it helps eradicate the behaviors. So I was so happy to hear all 4 of those guys are arrested. We sit back and we wait to see what type of charges they'll catch. I don't think they'll all get second-degree murder charges, though.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not all convicted, I would hate to see the aftermath in terms of protests of what are going to take place.
I don't think we're talking protests if it doesn't happen. I don't want to be right when it comes to, my gut feeling. I've said it several times. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another civil war in our lifetime.
I agree.
And the fact that everybody's still because nobody's working and they have nothing but time, they're not distracted by the day-to-day working. Everybody's looking at you have no choice but to see what's going on. People are getting pissed and they want to find something to do that they do with that energy. And if you give them a righteous cause to do something with that energy, then you're going to have people just going at it. That's exactly simple as that.
I do want to speak on one thing also. I want to talk about some of these people who aren't black, who are defacing property, who are destroying buildings. I feel that rage. You're just there to get your amusement. It's like an amusement park. Yeah, you need to. You're not an ally. Get off the field. That's it. Like that rage in me wants me. I want to burn the police station. Like that's how I feel sometimes. Whether I do it or not, I'm not going to put that on a record. On record, but that's valid to me. Anybody else who feels that is valid to me as a black man or a black person, period, that's valid to me. That feeling, that anger is valid. You doing that to, take over our legitimate feelings for whatever your agenda is invalid. And understand that. Telling people to oppress, how to deal with their oppressor is not the answer.
Yeah. But this is my thing.
That came out in the second one.
Yeah, that came out this morning. But this is my thing. If this brother has coronavirus, right, and he has all of these ailments, heart disease, high blood pressure, will he still be asymptomatic? Of course not.
No.
Right? The coronavirus feeds off of people who already have illnesses and weakened conditions. This brother was asymptomatic. So that shows you that he was healthy.
Right. Exactly. That's a good point, Drew.
So, gentlemen, I want to bring up Mr. Martellus Bennett.
Okay.
Because, just like him and his brother always do, they take it to the 10th degree, and I'm always here for it. So, Martellus, in addition to talking about George Floyd and the protests that are going on right now, he took the opportunity to take some real nice shots at the NFL. I think what sparked it for him was not just the Drew Brees comment, but also Vic Fangio from Denver, who said that racism didn't exist in the NFL. And I think that set him off. And I think everybody was sort of responding negatively to a lot of these statements that the teams were putting out anyway. So you had that, and he just went off. And I thought that was a really, you know,
Right.
we need more players.
He said that set them off. Yeah.
We need more players like him. Players who aren't afraid to speak. Like, listen, you're gonna make your $1 million. If you are responsible with your money, that doesn't mean you have to keep your mouth shut. There are dangers to, you know, speaking your mind. I'm in the hospitality business, and there are things that I would like to say that I can't say because they're dangerous. I'm not a millionaire. I can't make my living and be good in a year and then, you know, go and set off in the sunset with my family. I don't have that type of money in my field. But these NFL players, they do. They have that type of money. And unfortunately, not enough of them come out and speak against the oppressive mind state. We talked about it a few months ago with DeAndre Hopkins, and everybody went crazy like, yo, how could we trade DeAndre Hopkins? Well, if that player is pissed off at the way the coach views him as a black man, that's how you trade him, because he says, yo, trade me. I'm not playing for this dude. He doesn't respect black people. He doesn't understand where we come from. He doesn't understand the type of things that we deal with. And he was speaking recklessly. And I feel sorry for any other player that has to go through that on that team. Just looking at the quarterback situation. Of course there's racism in the NFL. I want to talk, before we get into the Dak conversation, because I want you to talk about a particular Twitter beef you had the other day.
All right, what's a new decade without me, you know, beefing with Sports Talk Radio House? All right, so I'm fed up with 106.7 the fan. I'm fed up with Sports Talk, especially in this area because of the demographics. How I am technically the majority, or at least close to it, but we don't see any faces that look like me unless they were a pro athlete. I'm tired of that. And I've been tired of that for years. And I've said as much. We've had conversations. Shout out to everybody that follows me on Twitter. Everybody I follow on Twitter. We have these conversations. Wizards Twitter, Redskins Twitter, and just, you know, and everybody that follow me. We've had these conversations. Shout out to Oz. Shout out to Troy Halliburton. Shout out to Mr. DC Sports, Damo out there, and all the Oz. So I saw a tweet that somebody brought back up about with EB, who's I don't know if you're familiar with the Sports Junkies, Blue.
Absolutely.
But they're on one. They're the morning drive on 106.7 The Fan. And he says in this tweet, he basically kind of like says it's not good to protest during the national anthem. Basically, he was one of those, right?
Okay.
So he said that tweet 4 years ago. Somebody else brought it up, and I then quoted with my own thing. You're silent on this, and I bet you're not saying nothing about what's going on right now, right? And nothing happened. He ain't say nothing. That was up for an hour. People was liking it, retweeted like 15, 20 times before. And people saying, yeah, I've been stopped listening. I said, I've been stopped listening because they talk about our slang here, our area slang, and say they basically made, like, I feel like their conversations lean toward they invented it. Then that's what got him mad. That's what got him angry. You're a liar. He called me a liar. I heard this conversation.
He said you a liar.
Dude. I lied.
Wow.
Because I stopped listening to you because you talk about the word Sice and Young and Joe, whatever the hell else you say, that's from here.
Uh-huh.
And you think you created something, or people think you created it, and you go with it. The people from Centerville never heard about our slang, and you go with it. Because you from PG County when the PG County was still half white. You understand? Yeah, 70s, 80s. You're not from PG for real, my dude. Huh?
Did he block you yet?
Nah, he ain't blocked me. That I respect that. I respect that he didn't block me. I respect that he didn't block me. But
You got
I'm
like
done with
you on
all
like
these
5
guys.
different people block list.
Oh yeah, I'm on a few. I'm on a few, but I'm not. Yeah, man. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And the reason why, that's the reason why they got the nickname 1067 the Clan on Twitter, because of these types of things. Then he wants to go into like you're talking about slang. We're talking about another dead black man. You're worried about what protest is correct, but
Right.
you ain't say shit about that. You say, oh, I don't say anything because that causes more division. Oh, dividing who? Dividing who, my G? You're dividing racists from people that actually see things for what they are?
Yes.
You should probably be on that one side.
Mm-hmm.
Like, his whole perspective was off. I was like, yeah, you need to apologize to Kaepernick on air, bro.
EB is
Y'all
also
use way too
Republican.
much. Yeah, y'all use way too much airtime to bring people on, whether or not you did personally or one of your 4 co-hosts did, 3 co-hosts, to denigrate that man and add it to why he was blackballed. So you need to get on air and apologize personally. This bomber just keeps going on about whether or not I lied about whether or not they invented SICE.
Sites.
Shut the fuck up.
You know, and it's funny. It's funny because I saw you retweeted Martellus one of his comments about it earlier yesterday, where he said sports media folks play a role in the framing of negative narratives around black players too. A lot of you motherfuckers are racist as well. And that's exactly what you're talking about, where it's like, yo, when you continue that narrative, you feed the beast.
Right.
So
I'm
if
not interested.
That's attention, they come out and come correct.
Yeah, I'm not interested in going back and forth with somebody that wants to put a black man in a box, an effigy. I'm calling all y'all out, making all types of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars off of black men and women in athletics, but you secretly hate them. Steve Zabin, Chad Dukes, all you bombers. I'm not with it. We gonna screen cap, we gonna screenshot, we gonna soundbite this one. I'm not with it. That needs to end right now, whether you're on 980, 1067 The Fan, ESPN, Fox Sports News, and shout out to Jason Whitlock asking for more money, and they said, yeah, we'll get another coon. Get out of here. I'm with all that. If you hate black men, but you talk about them and make your money off of them, get out. I don't want to hear your voice no more.
Don't forget Will Kane.
Well, yeah, Will Kane. Yeah, absolutely. He out there too. Secretly, Colin Cowherd too. Yeah, to him. Jim Rome. You be fake. You want to be fake black so bad? Come on, fam. Nah, that day is done. That's over with, bro. I'm done with it. Done with it. You want to hate the man. You hate the people. It's like everybody want to, like, this is what Paul Mooney said. Everybody want to be a nigga too. You know what I mean? Like, come on, son. Nah, bro. I'm off of it. And I'll call him out, and I'm going to call him out every week. Everybody want to be getting to it's time to be a nigga, man. So get the fuck out of here, bro.
So I feel like
I'm off of
you sort of like snuck Colin Cowherd's name in there. Nah.
Yeah.
He one of the front runners. You know why? Because if you look at a lot of the players who he's constantly bashing, they all have something very similar to them, don't they? They have individuals from the hood. You know, not the yes sir, no sir player. Most notably, John Wall. A lot of the guys from Kentucky. A lot of those guys who are busting the system, the guys who will, you know, if they didn't have to, they wouldn't even go to college. But they have to do one and done. They will at least go somewhere where they got a chance to win now. And Colin, you know, he clearly has an opinion about that type of stuff. He's been on John Wall's case since his rookie season because he danced at a pregame.
Right. It's crazy.
He danced at
I'm totally, that's why I brought him up. And it's not to say low key. He just better at hiding it. It's just like Trump revealed all the racism behind the GOP policies. They were good at hiding. They were good about manipulating it so you can hide behind disguises.
Right.
With the dog whistles. Colin Cowherd is a perfect example of that.
So
no, yeah.
Where's your stance on that, Brian? I want to talk about that because this is one of the reasons why Blue was on the show today. Yesterday he had sent me a post about Dak Prescott donating $1 million to police training. And at the surface, I think it's a valiant effort, but Blue and a lot of other people feel differently. So I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on that. Blue, what's your opinion on that, Blue?
So this was the thing that stuck out to me. The budget for Los Angeles County, LAPD police, is $3 billion. $3 billion. If you can't train a fleet of cops with $3 billion, what the hell is a difference is $1 million going to make? Versus him donating that money to the neighborhoods who are affected the most by systematic oppression, right? I looked at, CNN tweeted something yesterday. It said the average, the median income in Black communities is $41,000. The median income in white communities is $71,000, right? And that's before the drop in unemployment, right? Our communities are struggling. The police departments are flourishing in terms of economic value. That $1 million would have went much further in a grassroots movement, know your rights movement, something like that, or just investing in the community. Think about the areas where the police precincts are located. They're located in the hood, right? More police does not mean less crime. More police has never meant less crime. So,
facts.
What are we really investing in?
That's all great points. I don't understand why people think high crime area means you need to put more cops in. That doesn't solve anything. In high poverty, high crime areas, it's really like crime is the end result of poor education, poor living conditions. It's not the beginning. So why are you pouring so much money in the end and not at the root, at the beginning? And I think people are so wrapped up at the end result and don't understand you need to start at the root. Here's $1 million. Yeah, I agree. Like we just saw LAPD cut their budget by $150 million. Like they had $150 million to cut. I'm sure PGPDs is about the same.
Do you think that more training would have changed Derek Chauvin's mindset? Would have stopped him from murdering this man in the street? I don't think it's all about training. I think it's a lot about perspective and mindset. I don't think no amount of training would have stopped that.
Here's the question. How can training help that situation? If you have proper training, I don't know if the money going to training is exactly what's needed, but if you have more competent officers employed, that cop that we wish that would have been there, that would have been like, wait, what are you doing? Maybe that we can't change the cop that killed him, but we could have maybe put a cop in place that would have been like, whoa, nah, this is not happening. So that may be where the money for the training or where the training comes into play.
I'm of the mind of that if the police want to train, they can arbitrarily train. Like that's not something. I don't know why your mind goes there immediately. Like if I'm Dak Prescott now, I'm not gonna sit here and call him out of his name or do whatever. I'm just like bro, like who advised you to do that? I think that's where I'm at with it. Like that. You looked at and you assessed the situation and you thought training, you giving money to train, you might be able to call for training. You should maybe be able to, get a police sergeant or a captain or the commissioner, and do a you're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. You know what I mean? I'm guessing he's trying to do this in Dallas, not in. I'm thinking I forget where he's from now.
Right,
Florida,
Mississippi.
Mississippi. Okay. Yeah, I'm guessing he's trying to do this in Dallas. If you're thinking about doing any initiative, that's where I would think I would go. It just looks strange, and I can't really, go into the heart of a man and say what it is or isn't, but it just looks strange to me.
Do we have any information about Dak's stance on kneeling? Was he for it? Was he against it? Does he have any quotes about that?
I believe, if I'm correct, Dak didn't. He wasn't against guys kneeling. He just said he wasn't going to do it. He just said that's not the way he like to participate in protest. And I'm okay with that.
But I'm not, because he's one of the premier. Him, Cam Newton, they were the premier black African-American quarterbacks at the time. And neither one of them know. They were looking for Cam Newton to speak up. This is fresh off his MVP season, right? And he had nothing to say. Nothing to say. And now he's being blackballed. If Cam Newton was white, he'd have a job.
Would he?
I'm pretty sure. The league needs quarterbacks. The league there's 32 positions of starters, and there's not enough backups to go around. Charlie Whitehurst had a job for years. Good
yeah,
Lord
but Charlie
Jesus.
Whitehurst he's not going to cost as much as Cam Newton is. And Charlie Whitehurst can go sign with a team and can be the second, third string, and nobody knows. Cam Newton can't be that player. Just like Colin Kaepernick couldn't be that player. And I'm not saying, clearly, I don't think they both are not on teams for the same reason, like the premier reason. But outside of Colin being, being a disruptor, his cachet wasn't worth the headache, so to speak, to a lot of teams. It wasn't worth it. Cam Newton, on the other hand, I think a lot of Cam Newton's issues are on the field. You're saying that Cam Newton is a good enough player to be on the team. I agree, but if his agent is wanting a starting shot, then you're gonna have to wait. If your agent is saying, "Oh, we're gonna wait till a starting position opens up and somebody gets hurt," then you're going to be a free agent. You know what I'm saying, a little long. So I don't think he's blackballed. I don't think Cam is blackballed. Because if Cam is blackballed, RG3 wouldn't be on the team right now.
Well, RG3 has never spoke up against anything. RG3 is not tweeting about what's going on now. I don't ever remember RG3 standing up for anything. He's just getting a check.
We know that if Cam goes for a team and the starter struggles, players are, players are going to time for him. Fans are going to be like, "Oh, we should put Cam in."
So why can't Cam go to Seattle where he can back up Russell Wilson? Nobody's going to be clamoring for Cam Newton to play if Russell Wilson has 2 or 3 bad games.
I don't know if Seattle has the cap space to sign Cam Newton though.
I mean, he should not be getting a premier contract.
But that's what. But you got a guy who has a former MVP. He's not taking the minimum. You can't buy those fancy outfits that he wears on the minimum.
Tyrod Taylor does it.
He shops on Poshmark. No, but like I get what you're saying. I just feel like it's too multi-layered just to assume that Cam is blackballed. I don't think he's blackballed. I think it's more of a wait and see approach with Cam Newton. Somebody's going to sign Cam Newton at some point. Somebody will sign him at some point.
But my thing is this: Fitzpatrick has a job every single year. He's on a new team every year, and he's always in a conversation to be a starter. You know what I mean? I'm sure he's not making the veteran minimum.
Yeah, but he's also not coming
to try to get $20 million.
Cam Newton's probably trying to get $20 million right now.
I believe that. But I mean,
if you can pick any franchise you think that could use Cam Newton,
LA.
would you pay him $20 million? They ain't one
So
franchise right now.
So I can't think of a franchise that should pay him $20 million, but clearly I'm a Chargers fan. I would love to see Cam Newton as our starting quarterback moving forward.
Now, okay, let's take that. You said the Chargers. Now, imagine Phillip Rivers is not re-signed. I don't know how much Phillip Rivers was making his last year there, but some of the reason why he wasn't re-signed was
$23 million.
$23 million. Now, do you let Phillip Rivers go off his $23 million to sign Cam for $20? Or do you start fresh?
So $20 million is too high, okay? $15 million, which is probably somewhere in the middle, I think is
not taking $15 million.
He will.
Exactly. He will, like later on when you realize, oh wait, that 20's not coming. You got to get to that place.
Moment.
You got to get to that place.
And he's at the place this moment because clearly, there was not the attention that he thought he was going to garner by being a free agent or asking to be released.
What teams are going to do is they're going to wait till they go through training camps, so they can have – it's all about leverage. And you want to leverage the fact that he hasn't been in training camp. He may be rusty. It's ways to justify not paying him top dollar. But the thing about it is, if I signed Cam Newton, I would give him $20 million. You want to know why? Because if I'm a team that signs Cam Newton, that means there's obviously a need. And Cam Newton sells jerseys. Cam Newton puts butts in seats. So you see a return on investment.
There's no team in the NFL that needs more fans than the Los Angeles Chargers.
I think the Jaguars could use them. The Jaguars could definitely use Cam Newton. Jaguars struggle to put butts in seats. But
at the same time, the Jaguars faithful rally behind Gardner Minshew for the flash of talent that he showed.
I would give him 20, and I would nail him to that $20 million because the quarterback's about to get 30.
True. So you give a multi-year contract is what you're saying.
I would give him a 2-year deal. I would give Cam a 2-year, $40 million. Absolutely. 2 years, $40 million, and that second year ain't guaranteed. So if he starts, great. I got him for $20 million, and then I can give him with an extension. If he doesn't start and he sucks, I can get rid of him. Absolutely. Especially if you have a rookie that you're paying rookie money, that gives you a longer time to not have to pay a rookie or have to worry about a rookie holding out or raising his value. Then you got to get raked over the coals, like a Dak Prescott.
Absolutely.
Who's going to be looking to break the bank on his next contract? And I feel like he's deserved.
He's looking to break it now. Dak's trying to break it now.
I feel like he deserves it.
You think so?
Absolutely. Dak Prescott definitely deserves to be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. If he's the face of arguably a top 5 franchise, therefore elevating his profile, I think he's efficient enough. He has the fan base is behind him. So if you got a quarterback who has the fan base behind him, he has the support of the team. He isn't a weak link, so to speak. Yeah, he deserves it because if you give him the money now, he's going to outplay his contract. Dak is going to outplay whatever contract he gets. As long as you don't expect it to enter the Super Bowl. I can't guarantee he's going to win the Super Bowl, but the Cowboys will always be competitive with him as the quarterback. He's a competent quarterback.
He's competent. That's the key word. You use the word competent, not elite.
That's key.
It's two different. It's two different categories. Elite quarterbacks are the ones who command the highest pay in the league.
I disagree.
Dak Prescott is not elite yet.
I disagree. Because you can't just go off the right now. Because you got to go off the what about next year. Drew Brees is an elite quarterback, but Drew Brees, I can't see Drew Brees playing in 3 years.
Right. But that's because of his age. He's 41 years old.
I see Dak playing in 10 years. So right now, would you sign Drew Brees to a 4-year deal at $30 million a year?
No, because he's 40. If Drew Brees,
some of the elite quarterbacks are over the hill as far as how much productivity they're going to give you. So
absolutely.
you have to take that into consideration.
So, but when you sign somebody long term, when you give this guy a long term contract, you're saying that he's still going.
He only wants a 4-year deal. The Cowboys
is he in his peak? So is Dak Prescott in his peak right now?
I don't think so. Not only do I think Dak is not at his peak, I don't think the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys could be a competent coach and another weapon on offense away from really being a Super Bowl contending team. You can't be that with just Amari Cooper on the wideout, but CeeDee Lamb maybe that piece.
But he's going to command so much of that salary cap. He's taking up such a big portion of the salary cap that the Dallas Cowboys are going to be handcuffed for the next 4 years.
Business, though. You're not going to luck up and beat Seattle and draft a former wide receiver and turn him into cornerback and have a whole bunch of, underrated dogs on defense and then draft a quarterback who falls into the 3rd round. And all of a sudden you have a perennial playoff team like the Seattle Seahawks. That doesn't happen very often. You don't have it. You can't always be the San Francisco 49ers who get to take advantage of conflict in New England where they get rid of a future, quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo because it's people's egos, and now you luck up and get him for basically pennies on the dollar. Now you have a quarterback in place. Now you have a great defense. Now all you need to do is find offensive line running backs and skill positions, which they're doing. They have the running back. They have wide receivers. They got the tight end. Now they're competitive.
But Seattle's a little bit different because when Seattle was at his prime with the Legion of Boom, Russell Wilson was still on his rookie contract. All right.
Exactly.
When he signed a bigger contract, that's when Seattle took a step back because now they have to play him and they can't afford to put the players around him. Yeah, but they're not
still in the playoffs every year.
Yeah, but they were going 14-2.
Let's be clear. Seattle's struggles have been because they have failed to replace beast mode, because they have failed to take care of the offensive line. They're not. That defense is still good. They're still.
Also the secondary. They had the best secondary in the league by far. And now they don't have the money to replace those players because they're paying the quarterback.
The good quarterbacks cost money.
But a lot of them take pay cuts. Tom Brady took a pay cut. That's why we're able – and a lot of guys were able to go to the Patriots who were willing to take the veteran minimum. So that also makes a difference.
What quarterback's taking the veteran minimum?
I didn't say he took the veteran. I said players were willing to play with Tom Brady for less money. Tom Brady took less money. He's not taking the veteran minimum, but he's taking less money.
Why?
Because of the system.
No, it's also
because of the dynasty.
It's also because Tom Brady knows how good that system is. That's why he's taking less money. And when you know how good the system is, you also know, I might be just as expendable as everybody else. So, yeah, I'm still getting paid great money. Don't get it twisted. Tom Brady's still getting paid great money.
Absolutely.
He's just not breaking the bank as far as quarterbacks go. If Tom Brady had been the player who wanted all the money, he wouldn't be in New England. Jimmy Garoppolo would be the quarterback right now.
I agree.
That's why
but he also has endorsements.
Dak Prescott doesn't have that quarterback in Dallas to make him say, you know what, I'll take less. Andy Dalton, that's supposed to make him take less? If you threaten my job with Andy Dalton, you don't deserve my talent. If they're really threatening or thinking they're going to threaten Dak Prescott's starting position by signing Andy Dalton, they deserve everything that comes their way.
I agree. I agree, but I don't think that Dak Prescott is not. You can replace Dak Prescott. Tom Brady, you cannot.
We're gonna find out this year, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
The year before Dak got the Dallas, oh boy, they were struggling. Romo was hurt. Kellen Moore. Then
Boise
Romo
State,
was
right?
supposed to come back that next year, and everybody was like, "Oh, Romo," and then he gets hurt, and immediately they was like, "Oh no, you wrote the cow." Everybody wrote the Cowboys off. It's a wrap. And then Dak Prescott came out of nowhere like, "No, I got this." 13-3 for his rookie season.
Yeah, but I mean, don't forget they also had Zeke in the backfield. I mean, that wasn't just strictly him taking a 5-step drop and throwing the ball down the field. That was a talented team.
I agree. But part of the quarterback's job is to not be a detriment to the team, and that's a big part of it. So people call them Dak and Dunk, and people scoff at the quarterbacks who just take the easy pass. That's what the coach wants you to do. If the coach has a play where it's like, yo, you got wide receiver X can get you 5 yards and get you the second down, or you can take a big shot over the top where the guy's double covered. I don't want the quarterback taking that shot double covered every time. I want a quarterback who's, you know what, you're going to give me this 5 yards? I'm going to take this 5 yards. And then I'm going to put you in the same position on second down. And that's what was good about that. They put you in a position to say, all right, either you're going to give me the big play or you give me the small play. And these small plays are going to take, you know what I'm saying, they're going to add up. And that's what Dak takes advantage of.
I see that.
Because people say he can't throw. People, if Dak were that poor of a thrower, then they wouldn't sit on double coverage on Amari Cooper. They wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? They'd be stacking 8 in the box and just saying, okay, you can throw wherever you want to throw because I know you can't make the throws. He can make the throws. I don't think he's the most accurate quarterback of all time. He does, you know what I'm saying, throw some ground balls here and there, but I don't think he doesn't make too many bad reads.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback at all. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't ever see him being top 5. And that's why I would be afraid to give him, a monster 4 or 5 year contract.
Right. But here's the thing. You give Dak Prescott the contract this year, and all the quarterbacks that you think are better than him or potentially better than him, in 3 years, they'll have contracts to justify that because they'll be up for their contracts and they'll have new money.
Right.
New money's going to come to the next quarterback anyway. If it's not Dak this year, it's going to be in 2 years. It's going to be Kyler Murray, who may not prove nothing in Arizona, but in 2 years, he's going to be like, yo, I want a new contract.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's all about the market because your boy Kirk Cousins just he murdered the market. You know what I mean? He murdered it.
He got extended.
I guess you do have to pay for mediocre, halfway talented quarterbacks. So, I mean, I get it.
Kurt is not a mediocre average quarterback. He's slightly above average.
He's an 80, but he's slightly above average.
That meant he used that Michigan State education to his benefit.
Yeah, he did.
Kirk Cousins, in my opinion, has potentially done in the NFL what LeBron James did in the NBA. A lot of guys in the NFL are envious of how the contracts in the NBA are structured, but yet they don't fight for those contracts. And Kirk Cousins played the long game and said, you know what? I know they're going to franchise me. Matter of fact, I think they'll franchise me twice. And he was right. And it's like, okay, they crazy paid, which they couldn't. We know they couldn't franchise him for a third year. And it worked out.
The franchise has like 25 million. What's 25, 27 million?
If he'd got the third franchise tag, it'd have had him in the 30s. So the NBA has said that they're planning on resuming the season at the end of July with 22 teams. The 8 teams in the East that are currently in the playoffs, 8 teams in the West currently in the playoffs. 5 other teams from the West that are within I think 3 or 4 games, and then the Wizards, who are currently in the 9th spot. John Wall, however, for the Washington Wizards, said that even if they have a chance to make the playoffs, he will not be playing until next season. As a fan of the Washington Wizards, what's your take on that?
Personally, I feel like he's making the right call. Do the Wizards have a legitimate shot to go to the Eastern Conference Finals? No. Do they have a legitimate chance to win the championship? No. I want to make sure that John Wall, he's not a cornerstone player. I want to make sure that John Wall is 100% healthy when he does return on the court and legitimately has a chance to compete. And right now, with the 22 teams, there's no chance for the Wizards to actually compete and to win the championship.
So then why play at all? Like, if you look at your roster, why play at all? It's like, if you literally look at the roster, like next year, a lot of these teams are going to look the same. So you're just going to sit out next year too? That's not how it works. You go to war, you go to battle with what you got. You dance with who you came here with. And John Wall got injured. It'll be over a year since he got injured. And if the doctors clear him to play, and he still sits, you're still gonna feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
And just assume that John Wall comes back next year, he'll be good to go.
So do we know for a fact that the doctors cleared him to play?
I don't know, but I don't think he's speaking on that. I believe he even said that he was 100%. I believe he said he was 110% healthy. As a fan of the game, I don't. If you're healthy, I want you to play. I want you to play. What do you mean you don't have a shot? I remember 1999 when the Knicks weren't the favorite to go to the finals. Sure enough, they didn't win the finals. They lost to the Spurs, but they got there. And I think that's a big part of why you play the game. I think success breeds success. I don't condemn these guys for I'm sitting out and talk about the tougher era. Like, I've heard them talk about how, you know what I'm saying, the era that he started in was tougher than this era. Well, you're sort of being a product of this era. And then he made a statement, I'm gonna be like the 16, 17 John Wall. And you add that with the now Bradley Beal, we gonna be a problem. Well, once you give us a sneak peek of that in July. I mean, at the worst, you're not even guaranteed to make the playoffs. Who's to say that Orlando's gonna let you take that A spot?
And that's my point.
Because Markelle Fultz's injury is healing up. You know, that young boy from Maryland. You know what I'm saying? He healing up. He ready to rock. So I don't even know if the Wizards can beat Orlando. You talking about compete for a championship? They may not even beat Orlando.
If John Wall goes out there,
want that on his legacy that he couldn't even beat Orlando.
But this is the thing. If he goes out there and gets hurt again,
come on, you can't. Look, what are you in this to be? Are you in this to be great? Is that what you're here for? Look, people quick to point out the early playoff teams of Michael Jordan and the Bulls and how they were making the playoffs and they weren't even a 500 team. And even in the Last Dance, when they showed how Michael Jordan had that injury and came back before he was supposed to, I'm not saying, hey, come back before you're supposed to. Over a year's time, it's hard to believe that that's before you're supposed to.
But this is the first time John Wall has said that he's felt healthy. He's been playing with all kind of knee issues, ligament damage. I want to make sure that he's 100% healthy and ready to go. and ready to compete. And right now, I don't think that we can necessarily compete. I think it's a wasted season. I actually would prefer for the Wizards not to even be in playoff contention. I prefer to have a draft pick.
So next year, the same Wizards team. Are you expecting them to compete? What's different about that team?
Rudy Gobert. I mean,
that was good. Rudy Gobert.
If we play a whole season with a healthy John Wall and an upgraded big man, it's probably not gonna be Rudy Gobert, but I mean somebody halfway decent.
But they have Thomas Bryant on the contract.
Who?
Thomas Bryant is on the contract.
I like Thomas Bryant, but I think we need somebody at the power forward position. I think Thomas Bryant is a good player, and I think that Troy Brown, that combination of Troy Brown, is and the players that you put around him are not going to do it. I think Troy Brown has had enough time. I think I'm ready to move on past Troy Brown.
Why? You don't think he's come along this year?
I don't. I don't think he's as good as Kelly Oubre. You know what I mean?
No.
Kelly Oubre and Otto Porter, I think we're both better players than
Troy
Brown.
God.
You disagree?
Yes.
He's better than both of them?
I think he brings more value to the team because he's on his rookie deal.
Yes, that's true.
Oubre was on his way to getting more money than he was worth. He's not performing to his contract in Phoenix. They'd already put him on a trading block. And the same things will happen in Phoenix as it was happening here, where it's like he gives you flashes, you like his personality, but his game doesn't translate on a consistent basis. He still makes boneheaded, plays where he's just undisciplined, and I like Oubre, but I feel like I don't like you talking about how the way you feel about Troy Brown not developing. I felt the same thing with Oubre. I mean, just think about this. I feel like Oubre was one of the reasons why the Wizards lost that series against the Celtics.
Well, he got hurt.
That he got suspended.
Yeah, that's what it was. He got suspended.
He got into it with Kelly Olynyk.
Right.
That cost the Wizards a series. That was one of the things. I can say it was one of the things that cost them the series. Mm-hmm. And you need, the best teams have players with high IQ. You don't win championships with players who just lace up their sneakers and go out and hoop.